What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. Apologies for the late upload. I am absolutely shattered, but we might as well get through this. This week has driven me insane. But yeah, let's just dive straight into things. So you can see on the back of the high impact news, dollar has given us quite a strong reversal. We've had a very aggressive up close day, rushing right above any kind of buy stops, taking out buy side liquidity above here and reaching up into here. And yeah, let's just break down where we think Friday may lead to, but at this point I'm tired of it. But there's a few things I do want to bring our attention to on the higher time frames that that may make price sensitive, that should make price sensitive. So this bearish order block right here, the opening price of that should be quite sensitive, so we'll delineate that like so. And then if we drop down to the lower time frames on the daily, you will see that there is a gap between this high and this low and this high right here. Now the fact that we've wicked up into here, the true gap, like the true fair value gap which I'm paying attention to, is between this low and this high, and we haven't yet traded into that. So moving into Friday, I'd like to think that we can crawl up into there and ideally fill that fair value gap. But like I said, because we know this level is so sensitive to price in that it's a weekly bearish order block, I'd like to think that price will find resistance as it trades into that. Another thing to take note of is there is a clear volume imbalance here, so there's no voluminous trading here other than this candle. So if we look at this range right here and we draw the gap, so it's between this open and here, again that lines up nicely with our fair value gap, but also the fact that we've closed below it with this big massive candle on Thursday from the 13th, so a few weeks back. The fact that we closed below it like so, and this is a volume imbalance, when price returns to it, I'd expect it to act as resistance. So now we've got two layers of PD arrays in the premium that have stacked on top of each other to give me the suggestion that we should find resistance. So we have the fair value gap here, we have actually it's three: fair value gap here, the bearish order block from the weekly low here, and then the volume imbalance as well that's been closed below. So like I said, as price climbs into it, yes, it can fill it, but I wouldn't expect it to I don't anticipate it getting through it, purely because the higher time frame, so the weekly etc., is bearish. So I want to see that be reflected in these levels right here. So that's what I've got my eye set on. And yeah, so these two up close candles as well, if we draw the volume out of here, I'd expect that to provide support basically. So everything on the buy side makes anything on the sell side inverted, so a bearish order block should become a bullish order block. Now that is easier said than done, isn't it? When I say that theory, it's not directly reflected, but my point is this range. So if we were to drop down into it, I'd expect it to find support until we've traded up into this range, as I was saying. But looking at how bullish we are, I wouldn't be surprised if running straight into the London session, price has carried on rallying, and then we probably get a reversal maybe late New York or not even until next week. So I'm not really expecting much of a retracement at all. And like I said, as we move into Asia and into London, I'm anticipating prices to keep rallying, and then we have a nice bearish order block in this range as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm expecting. But basically, as soon as price gets up here, I want it to struggle and basically start to reverse, and then moving into the next week. Otherwise, obviously, we'll just have to wait till the Sunday review and we can break down price and take a closer look. So make sure you have those post notifications turned on. But yeah, that's everything for now. Very interesting day to say the least, but it's obviously reaching for something, and this is the only imbalance we have. Let's have a look on the lower time frames. Actually, anything of interest? So there's a few fair value gaps here. Yeah, I'm not really too concerned, but this gap, this drop right here is what I'm interested in. So that's everything on dollar. Let's take a look at GBP USD. And let's go to the weekly and see if we can find a weekly PD array similar to what we had on dollar that price may want to trade to. And as you can see, there's a nice fair value gap that's formed right here. So I'd like to think that price is reaching for this. Now what's annoying me about this week particularly is it does feel like I'm chasing price, and ICT always preaches not to do that, and it does feel like that. And when I say that, I mean, oh, it's going this way, so now my bias has changed, and now it's going this way, so now my bias has changed, and now it's going this way, so now my bias has changed. That's how it's felt this week, and that's why I'm not too confident in this week, and I just haven't enjoyed it at all, and I try to avoid it. But when you see displacement to this extent, it's hard to ignore. Like, it's very clear And then you could arguably justify it as in, you know, okay, well, we traded into a bearish order block here, rejection block level, and we've been rallying for X amount of time. Like, we should potentially be anticipating these. So things like that we need to consider. And then also the fact that we're entering the end of the first quarter of the year. That's another thing, as in we're getting to March. So that's what, you know, your first quarter. So we expect certain turns and shifts in the market, and this could just be the start of that, considering March is literally starting on Saturday. So with all of that taken into account, it's not completely odd. And I am going to look at I am probably going to look at the up to data range soon to see what, you know, if that can help us, which it probably will. But nonetheless, this is that the fair value gap from Wednesday. You can see there's just a wick down there. We've got a low right here. We do have a breaker, so if you look at this high, this low, high, so it's going to be the last down close candle in this range. But I'm not too concerned about the breaker because, like I said, I'm not anticipating much rallying, as in I'm expecting price to just roll over. Now, don't get me wrong, pound might not reach all the way down here tomorrow on Friday, but we do have a rejection block level, and rejection block levels are something I'm still so this rejection block level. Yeah, rejection block levels are things that they're not very clear how ICTs explain them and stuff, but I'm anticipating price to want to reach into this and maybe find, you know, a level of resistance. Now, what makes it a rejection block? Well, simply this wick. So you see this wick, and you see how we've reversed. You see this wick right here, we traded into this wick's range. So we got to look at this like a bullish order block almost. And then you see how we wicked down into it, and then look what happened. We had a large expansion out of it. So this is basically a bullish order block. That's basically what rejection block levels are. It's just anticipating them is ridiculously difficult, and I don't really want to talk too much on that. But my point is, I'm expecting us to reach down into that level if dollars to rally how we're expecting. And then if we drop down to the low time frames, we might be able to find a PD array, like a fair value gap or anything that could potentially support that theory. Now, there is a fair value gap right here, but we've already traded to it here, but I guess there's no volume there. It would be nice if we could find a clear fair value gap that's just been left open anywhere below here. So that one's been filled. Like I said, that one's been filled. Okay. We'll see. And then there's one right here, isn't there, in the rejection block. So let's draw that out just out of curiosity, see if price does manage to get down there. And if it does, well, I mean, we can study that next week and take a closer look. But that's basically how I'm looking at price right now on pound, seeing if we can delve down into that, because I do believe that price is just going to roll over. I don't see much rallying. I doubt there's going to be much rallying, and like I said, as London opens, we'll probably just roll straight down into it. So let's keep our eyes set on this for now, and I'm going to get rid of this just because I don't think, well, unless there's some craziness, unless we get overzealous, I'm not expecting this to get traded to, especially after the week we've had with all the back and forth price action, and especially on a Friday. Like, look at all this, like, yeah, I'm not expecting too much, but maybe next week. And like I said, it's a new month next week, so maybe we'll do an up to data range video and really break price down and take a closer look. So let's finish up on Euro USD. We'll finish here. Well, I mean, we'll start here on the the weekly. And yeah, the weekly doesn't offer us a fair value gap like we've seen on pound and on dollar. But again, maybe we could look at the rejection block levels again, and you could argue every level is a rejection block level, and that's the thing, it is. But you could argue every fair value gap's a bullish order block, because if you go down to a low enough time frame, you will find one inside of them. So it's like, what are we really looking at? You know, to what extent? I think one thing that we need to grip and understand and really get in our heads is that, yeah, we have all these fancy names: order block, fair value gaps, rejection blocks, all these fancy names, but really it's the algorithmic process of how price is delivering that we should be studying and focusing on, not necessarily the order block or exactly where it's going. So although I'm marking out where I want to see price go, it's more so the fact that it's going there, which is what we should be paying attention to, like the likelihood of it arriving at a certain point and how it's delivering, when it's delivering. I don't know if that makes sense. If that's something you want me to talk more about, do drop a comment below. I can look into that, and join the Discord, let me know over there as well. But anyway, clear displacement. I'm looking at this low, last down close candle before the up move, so that would be the breaker. But again, I'm not expecting much rallying. It's looking like price is just going to roll over, and I'm fine with that. This is what I mean, there's rejection block level, but it's also lining up with a nice daily bullish order block, which would be nice to reach. We do have an implied fair value gap, but I've kind of stopped marking them out. Maybe I shouldn't, just for ease's sake. Again, it's like, what are we looking at? But I'm looking at this low, particularly below here. So it'd be nice to see a price can trade down below that. And then I know I'm looking at this bullish order block, and I'm going to look in this range because I'm assuming there's some kind of fair value gap in there that price can trade into. So let's go back up to the time frame. Actually, yeah, let's go straight down to the 15, see if we can find anything. And there's no fair value gap here, but again, if we keep going down, eventually you'll find something that price can trade to. Some kind of imbalance has been left behind that they want to send price to for some reason on a specific day at a specific time, and that's what we need to identify. So there is a gap here, but there's also a gap below here. It'd be interesting if we only trade to this one but fail to trade to this one, because if this stays open, then I wouldn't be surprised if price was to reverse. But again, that's all that's like that's the algorithm, that's algorithm level suggestions, if that makes sense. And I'm going to try and talk more on that when we're looking at charts, because that's what I'm basing everything off. And I think a lot of people are watching these videos thinking, oh, this is a order block, so this should happen, this is a fair value gap, but you're not understanding that I'm looking at it from a more wider idea as to why I want to see price go a certain direction, or why I'm anticipating certain moves. Anyway, that's going to be everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like, drop a comment, smash subscribe, join the mailing list, join me over on Discord, and I'll catch you all on Sunday. Peace.